Venimos de escuchar qué opinaban distintos líderes del mundo sobre Donald Trump. Ahora vamos a escuchar al propio Donald Trump hablando sobre la política internacional. Pero en Estados Unidos es muy curiosa la situación, porque siempre se hablan, los politólogos norteamericanos suelen hablar del poder permanente y el poder transitorio, donde el poder permanente está el Pentágono y el poder transitorio es el del presidente de turno. Y ya sean demócratas o republicanos, es difícil salir del esquema de invadir otros países. ¿Cómo te lo imaginas a Donald Trump en ese sentido y en esa relación con esos poderes?
Bueno, Donald Trump, primero que nada, lo que tiene es lo impredecible, realmente, y lo demuestra en cada locución que hace. La verdad es que él tiró algunos lineamientos de cómo sería su política exterior, pero son muy de campaña, ¿no? Obviamente habló de un acercamiento incluso con Rusia, que hoy aparece muy enfrentada con los Estados Unidos, y planteó básicamente un sistema muy protectivo de la economía de los estadounidenses, bien cerrada, pero también con la idea de expandir la economía de Estados Unidos hacia afuera, es decir, lograr grandes exportaciones. Esto desde el punto de vista económico. Ahora, desde el punto de vista político, recordemos que justamente Reagan y otros referentes de los republicanos, los mismos, tanto Bush padre como Bush hijo, encararon políticas de invasiones, donde los intereses norteamericanos se priorizaron a cualquier otro tipo de discusión política. Y eso, sin duda, podría seguir con una presidencia de Donald Trump.
Vamos a escuchar entonces precisamente cuál es la opinión de Donald Trump sobre la política exterior.
We have a lot to be proud of. In the 1940s, we saved the world. The greatest generation beat back the Nazis and Japanese imperialists. Then we saved the world again, this time from totalitarianism and communism. The Cold War, it lasted for decades, but guess what? We won, and we won big. Democrats and Republicans working together got Mr. Gorbachev to heed the words of President Reagan, our great president, when he said, "Tear down this wall." History will not forget what he did. Very special man and president. Unfortunately, after the Cold War, our foreign policy veered badly off course. We failed to develop a new vision for a new time. In fact, as time went on, our foreign policy began to make less and less sense. Logic was replaced with foolishness and arrogance, which led to one foreign policy disaster after another. They just kept coming and coming. We went from mistakes in Iraq to Egypt to Libya to President Obama's line in the sand in Syria. Each of these actions have helped to throw the region into chaos and gave ISIS the space it needs to grow and prosper. Very bad. It all began with the dangerous idea that we could make Western democracies out of countries that had no experience or interest in becoming a Western democracy. We tore up what institutions they had, and then were surprised at what we unleashed. Civil war, religious fanaticism, thousands of Americans and just killed, lives wasted, horribly wasted. Many trillions of dollars were lost as a result. The vacuum was created that ISIS would fill. Iran, too, would rush in and fill that void, much to their really unjust enrichment. They have benefited so much, so sadly for us. They look at the United States as weak and forgiving and feel no obligation to honor their agreements with us. In NATO, for instance, only 4 of 28 other member countries, besides America, are spending the minimum required 2% of GDP on defense. We have spent trillions of dollars over time on planes, missiles, ships, equipment, building up our military to provide a strong defense for Europe and Asia. The countries we are defending must pay for the cost of this defense. And if not, the U.S. must be prepared to let these countries defend themselves. We have no choice. Israel, our great friend, and the one true democracy in the Middle East, has been snubbed and criticized by an administration that lacks moral clarity. Just a few days ago, Vice President Biden again criticized Israel, a force for justice and peace, for acting as an impatient peace area in the region. President Obama has not been a friend to Israel. He's treated Iran with tender love and care and made it a great power. Iran has indeed become a great, great power in just a very short period of time because of what we've done. All of the expense and all at the expense of Israel, our allies in the region, and very importantly, the United States itself. And then there's ISIS. I have a simple message for them. Their days are numbered. I won't tell them where, and I won't tell them how. We must as a nation, be more unpredictable. We are totally predictable. We tell everything. We're sending troops, we tell them. We're sending something else, we have a news conference. We have to be unpredictable. And we have to be unpredictable starting now. But they're going to be gone. ISIS will be gone if I'm elected president, and they'll be gone quickly. They will be gone very, very quickly. We even had an opportunity to take out Osama bin Laden, and we didn't do it. And then we got hit at the World Trade Center and the Pentagon, again, the worst attack on our country in its history. Our foreign policy goals must be based on America's core national security interests. And the following will be my priorities. In the Middle East, our goals must be, and I mean must be, to defeat terrorists and promote regional stability, not radical change. We need to be clear-sighted about the groups that will never be anything other than enemies. And believe me, we have groups that no matter what you do, they will be the enemy. We have to be smart enough to recognize who those groups are, who those people are, and not help them. And we must only be generous to those that prove they are indeed our friends. I will not hesitate to deploy military force when there is no alternative. But if America fights, it must only fight to win. Under a Trump administration, no American citizen will ever again feel that their needs come second to the citizens of a foreign country. America will continue and continue forever to play the role of peacemaker. We will always help save lives and indeed humanity itself. But to play that role, we must make America strong again. We must make America respected again. We must make America truly wealthy again. And we have to, and we will make America great again. And if we do that, perhaps this century can be the most peaceful and prosperous the world has ever known. Thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
En el bloque estuvimos mostrando y hablando de algunos discursos de Donald Trump xenófobos y de críticas a la inmigración. Otro rol al que él con el que suele enfrentarse es con los periodistas. Vamos a ver ahora, lo comentaba recién Michael Moore, de cómo él utiliza esos enfrentamientos con los periodistas, pero me interesaría preguntarte cómo es esa relación con los periodistas, pero también con los grupos mediáticos.
Bueno, Michael Moore desde un primer momento dijo, se le está dando tanta prensa a Donald Trump, ya sea desde la crítica, que lo que están haciendo es fortalecer su imagen. Y de hecho fue lo que pasó. Hubo 17 precandidatos de los partidos republicanos, pero ninguno llegó ni a la 10ª parte de la prensa que tuvo Donald Trump. Obviamente por los escándalos, por un lado. Él es de maltratar particularmente a los periodistas cuando no les gusta una pregunta. Ha pasado con periodistas latinos que fueron echados de sus conferencias de prensa y demás, pero también es un hombre bastante protegido por lo que sería el establishment de medios más importantes, los más cercanos al Partido Republicano, donde lo ven como una figura, a ver, excéntrica por un lado, pero que garantiza la continuidad de sus propios intereses mediáticos y económicos.
Bueno, primero le agradecemos mucho a Gabriel Michi por habernos acompañado, y ahora vamos a ver esos momentos en los que Donald Trump tiene distintos altercados con los periodistas.
Hay quienes asesinan y no dan las caras, el rico da la orden y el pobre la dispara.
Creo que es un maestro en el uso de los medios de comunicación y que estos están dispuestos a seguirle el juego. No es tan estúpido como parece. Debemos tomárnoslo muy en serio, la manipulación que está teniendo lugar aquí. Y el uso de la propaganda es sencillamente brillante porque ha triunfado.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
No, it wasn't. Your Twitter account...
Thank you.
For the record, it was well beyond Rosie O'Donnell.
Yes, I'm sure it was.
Your Twitter account has several disparaging comments about women's looks. You once told a contestant on Celebrity Apprentice it would be a pretty picture to see her on her knees. Does that sound to you like the temperament of a man we should elect as president?
I think the big problem this country has is being politically correct. What I say is what I say. And honestly, Megyn, if you don't like it, I'm sorry. I've been very nice to you, although I could probably maybe not be based on the way you have treated me, but I wouldn't do that.
What is it with you and Megyn Kelly?
She starts asking me all sorts of ridiculous questions, and, you know, you could see there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever.
He felt attacked. It wasn't an attack. It was a fair question.
So no apologies to Megyn Kelly? You don't think you don't think you crossed the line there?
No, not at all. I said, look, she asked me a very nasty question. I have nothing against Megyn Kelly, but she asked me a very, very nasty question.
About immigration.
Okay, who's next? Yeah, please. Excuse me, sit down. You weren't called. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Go ahead. No, you don't. You haven't been called. Go back to Univision. Go ahead.
You cannot deport 11 million.
Go ahead.
You cannot deport 11 million people. You cannot build a 1900 wall. You cannot deny citizenship to children in this
Sit down, please. You weren't called.
I'm a reporter and don't touch me, sir. Don't touch me.
Go.
You cannot touch me. I have the right to ask a question. I have the right to ask a question.
Yes, go ahead. Hi, Chip. Yes. I didn't escort him out. You'll have to talk to security, whoever security has escorted him out. But certainly he was not chosen. I chose you. I chose other people to answer. I mean, you're asking me questions. He just stands up and starts screaming. Yes. Good. Absolutely. Good. Absolutely. Good to have you back.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
So here's the problem with your immigration plan. It's full of empty promises.
Okay.
You cannot deport 11 million undocumented immigrants. You cannot deny citizenship to the children in this country. You cannot build a 19...
Why do you say that?
You cannot do that.
Well, a lot of people think, no, excuse me.
You have to change the Constitution, Mr. Trump.
a lot of people, but a lot of people think that's not right, that an act of Congress can do it. Now, it's possibly going to have to be tested in courts, but a lot of people think that if you come and you're on the other side of the border, I'm not talking about Mexico, somebody on the other side of the border, a woman is getting ready to have a baby, she crosses the border for one day, has the baby, all of a sudden, for the next 80 years, hopefully longer, but for the next 80 years, we have to take care of the people. Here's what we're going to do. Ready? Okay.
Are you going to bring the army?
No. Let me tell you. We're going to do it in a very humane fashion. Believe me, I have a bigger heart than you do. We're going to do it in a very humane fashion.
The Latino vote. You say that you're going to win the Latino vote.
I think so, because I'm going to bring jobs back.
But the truth is, I've seen the polls. The Univision poll says 75% of Latinos.
How much am I suing Univision for right now? No. Do you know the number? No. Tell me. Tell me. Do you know the number? And you know you're a part of the lawsuit. How much am I suing Univision for?
The question is, Mr. Trump.
Wait.
I'm a reporter.
It's $500 million.
I'm a reporter.
Okay, good. And they're very concerned about it, I have to tell you. I'm very good at this stuff.
Las controversias no cesan para Donald Trump. El precandidato a la Casa Blanca es ahora criticado porque al parecer se burló de un periodista discapacitado del New York Times, luego que se retractara de una historia. Se refiere a Serge Kowalski, un hombre con una deficiencia congénita que limita el movimiento de sus brazos. Trump niega que estaba ridiculizando al reportero y dice que ni siquiera recuerda haberlo conocido. Trump ahora está exigiendo una disculpa, pero el reportero da otra versión y aclara que se ha encontrado con el magnate reiteradamente en conferencias de prensa desde los años 80, que se conocen de nombre y que hasta lo ha entrevistado en su oficina.
Basado en la esclavitud.
Como siempre les recordamos nuestra vía de comunicación, que es lideresdearchivo@gmail.com, donde pueden sugerirnos algún líder de los que quieran ver algún discurso. También que nuestro hashtag es Líderes de Archivo, allí también nos podemos comunicar a través del Twitter. Agradecerle como siempre a nuestro productor Hernán Nucera y recordarles que pueden ver y todos los programas en nuestro canal de YouTube, que es Líderes de Archivo CN23. Para terminar, vamos a ver algo que es bastante particular. Yo vi alguno de estos programas, se llama Roast TV. Es una emisión en donde llevan a un famoso, lo sientan en un banquillo y humoristas, raperos, hacen una especie de stand-up destrozándolo, pero lo destrozan. Yo me acuerdo haber visto alguno, donde estaba Charlie Sheen, por ejemplo, lo destrozaban, lo acusaban de borracho, golpeador, de todo. Bueno, vamos a ver como perla final ese programa, pero con Donald Trump sentado en el banquillo. Nos vemos el sábado que viene. Hasta luego.
Now, I may not have half his paper, but I got twice the dick, and you can believe that. But on the real, though, I love the one of Trump's ex-wives, just to know what it's like to come in the money. Donald say he wants to run for president and move on into the White House. Why not? It wouldn't be the first time you pushed a black family out of their home.